Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, Built, Field, Tested. I've got Xan with me here today. From the introduction episode, we explained to you that this is going to be a platform for Xan and I to kind of communicate to everyone in the company what our ideas are, what our thoughts are, and hopefully give you some meaningful information that we can all help to improve what we're doing, help us elevate the industry, help us be the best construction company we could possibly be, and have fun doing it. So Xan's here.
Yep.
And today the topic is going to be company culture. And I know this is something that we all recognize and value here at Bartels Construction Solutions. I think most successful companies do. We put a lot of energy and time, and we put a lot of money and effort into creating the company culture that we have. But I just wanted to define it for everyone. There's a few different ways to look at it, but some things that I really feel like this sums it up is it is our social operating system. So we have all these operating systems that we use to run the business, but this is our social one. So this is how we communicate with each other. This is how we build credibility with each other. It drives respect. It drives fairness, generates pride within the company, and gives us all a sense of belonging, right? Everybody wants to feel like they belong.
Yeah, and you have that level of trust that you can build in a group, and everything Matt said is what we're after, and we want it to be all of those things, but we want it to authentically be all those things. I think that's the most important piece.
It's real. It's not fake, right? The living, breathing persona of the company. It's not what we look like. It's how we are.
I think you would hear that from like Bank of America talks about their corporate culture. But is that real or is it not real? And do people that work at the bank really value and trust and respect their peers? They may or they may not, depending on it's a much bigger organization. But for us, if we can be authentic with it,
That's a great point.
tailor our communication to each other in a way that respects the other person and really shows that what they say matters to you and what you say matters to them. Like that two-way street is important. And it leads to trust and open communication, and then we can get a lot of things done without having to worry about the other side of it a little bit. So we have tons of events we use to do all this stuff, both big events and little events.
Yeah, it can be the big events like the holiday party, which is coming up actually tomorrow. Today's December 5th, 2025. But the holiday party, we have our ski trip, we have our raft trip. We do barbecues for the holidays.
Those are all the headline events.
Yeah.
But we have the
big ones, but
micro that happen every day.
But every day we have it in the office where everybody's in here making lunch. Breaking bread with one another is a huge company culture thing. It's a great way to share, a great way to get to know each other.
Or even in the field, we try to do that. A lot of times it ends up being on a concrete pour day, or we have some critical element of a project going on. A lot of times there's a lunch involved with that, or even getting together after it's over happens in the field a lot. So
Yeah.
I think that stuff's just as important. Happens both sides.
I learned about that from working in a company. We probably have all worked for a company that had a bad company culture or didn't have a company culture. It was show up to work, go home. I'm not built like that personally. That doesn't give me purpose. It doesn't feel what I need coming to work. So, I mean, one of my favorite things to do is to get to know everybody and learn about their families and learn about their lives and their experiences and keep up with it. It's a social life, right? I mean, we spend more time here with our peers that we work with than we spend with our families at home. It's a different dynamic, but
And we talk to each other a ton.
yeah, we solve more problems together. When you've got your family's your refuge. You go home to your family, and that's where you recharge, and that's where you charge your batteries, and that's where you have your life experiences outside of work. But here, we have to solve a lot of problems. I talk about it all the time. There's not a problem that comes in here that we are not allowed to just say we can't solve it. We have to solve it. That's what we're paid to do.
Well, and that's a piece of the culture too. Like the culture is getting along and working together, but a piece of our culture is saying, backing up. Some places would say, well, that's not our problem. Someone else is going to handle it. And we don't do that, even when it's a problem that's maybe on the periphery of our area of responsibility on a project. We tackle them all together. That's part of what we try to do to set us apart from multiple peers in the industry.
Multiple problems a day, sometimes multiple problems an hour. And the guys in the field are fixing a problem every few minutes sometimes.
Well, our clients love it too. When they see us solving something that it's going to impact us a little bit, but we could easily say, oh no, they're going to handle it.
Some other stuff related to the company culture is our equipment and our tools and our trucks, what the office looks like. All this stuff, we put thought and energy. We have a big investment, and we have new tools, we have new equipment, we have new trucks. When we show up on a job site and we work for the customers that we're working for, just how you show up on the job site makes a big difference.
So all of that's very intentional. Yeah. We have orange hard hats.
I remember I learned that early on in the business. I learned that, yeah, and that's a cool branding thing, right? We can get to the branding part too. But early on in business, I had a few big slabs that Hart Concrete Finishing did for us, and Walt Hart. And I was always just super impressed with how those guys showed up. They had obviously a fleet of trucks. It's different than us because all they do is place and finish concrete. They show up at midnight. The concrete comes at 2 or 3 a.m. They pour concrete, finish it, and saw cut their joints, and they're out of there at lunchtime or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And they do that every single day. But these guys showed up, and there were 2 guys in a truck. The trucks had toolbox bodies on them. They all looked the same. They all had a quickie saw. They all had a plate tamp. They all had a green cut saw. They all had a box full of hand tools. They all had a Fresno. They all had a bull float. 2 guys operated in one vehicle. And it was just set up in such a way that when they showed up, it's like, man, these guys are tight.
You know exactly where
They're tight. They know where everything goes. They know where everything is. And they're going to take it out of this spot. They're going to put it right back in that spot. And it's going to be there for them tomorrow, right? It was impressive. And I kind of keyed in on that. And I feel like that's how we built kind of our field operation too. We have a few more moving parts because we're doing a lot of different various scopes. So it's harder to do that when we have different tools. We're not using the same tools every day. But that's something to think about, though, the way you show up on a job.
Well, the perception, yeah.
Sure, the client, shoes tied or your clothes raggedy, or do you have on new BCS gear like we provided the guys, like the orange hard hats and the new vests and the new shirts and the sweatshirts, and everybody kind of matches. We look like a team. We don't look like folks that have showed up.
It looks good, and I like to think it works better. Yeah, like True Work gear is pretty good. Like
keeps the guys more comfortable.
Between the jackets, pants, and everything, we provide it as much as we can. It's going to make you feel a little bit better and maybe operate at a little higher level.
And these are all things that are company culture related and really a driver of making you feel a certain way when you come to work, right?
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, it adds all to the team cohesion. That's like the end goal, the why of all of this is getting everyone together. And that culture is what brings everybody together and making sure teamwork's at the forefront of what we're trying to do. All these events, whether it be having lunch with a couple guys that are available or the more headline events like the raft trip and ski trip, it's all about bringing everyone together in a venue that's a little bit outside of the office or a construction site, or even if it is on a construction site or at the office, it's bringing another aspect in that's not fully work related, so you can relate to each other on a little bit different level. So I think that's a theme that you'll find within all these events, whether it's the micro, grab a beer after work, or have lunch together in the office, or the big events. All of them are about bringing everybody together and just having that face time together. The more we can do that, the more you get to know each other, one, and then that's how you build trust with each other. That's why I call a lot of folks in the company almost every day, because I really like to hear from them and hear what's going on, what the challenges are. And it may not be exactly the challenge on the job that's the biggest message of the phone call. It's what's going on the periphery or how you're interacting with one of your other coworkers or something. You pick up a lot from that, just from those kind of more casual interactions. They're important.
Well, it spills over, right? That culture gets built, and then that spills over into how we perform for our customers, how we interact with our customers. It's the same way, right? It's organic. It comes from a place of respect and a place of balance, and comes from a place of appreciation and humbleness that thank you for your business. Thank you for trusting us to help you, and we appreciate it. Everyone appreciates each other. Everyone belongs, and it feels good. It's a sustainable thing. It reduces burnout, right? It's really easy to get burned out if you're at a place where the company culture is bad or doesn't exist.
What do you call bad company culture? I guess you came from a place where it was bad.
I guess there's not a company culture doesn't exist. It's either good or bad. There's not really even a mediocre, like it's either the company culture is good or bad. No, coming from a place of not the best company culture, the way I experienced it was feeling a little used, right? Feeling a little taken advantage of.
Making money for the man.
And yeah, the feeling like the future was not there. There wasn't a path, that the future wasn't kind of laid out, or the future wasn't bright for me as an employee. And it was a grind, and we were doing a lot of the same types of projects and work that we do now, but it wasn't fun. There was nothing fun about it. There was no.
It was just the personalities.
Yeah, there was no like, let's get together and just chat for a minute or do something that's fun. It was all about just, you need to work, and usually it was a negative environment. That's why a lot of times I preach to people as we're developing them, hey, when you go to a job site, you're gonna immediately want to talk about the things that are wrong, but you need to stop, take a breath, and realize all the things that are going right. And you need to congratulate your team members on, look at all this great stuff that's happening, before you talk about the stuff that's needs to get fixed. Because the conversation does not need to be, that's wrong. Why'd you do it that way? You need to fix it now. You suck.
Like those are all
Like, that's
what we're avoiding.
That's not solving any problem.
We're avoiding blame. We're avoiding like yelling and screaming.
That's not solving any problem. Matter of fact, it's causing problems. It's causing that person to say, I thought you were our leader. I thought you were going to lead me and help me get this job done. It kind of sucks that you think I'm bad, or, it just generates all this really emotional stuff that with a good company culture, it doesn't exist.
So we're avoiding blame and hostility.
Positivity.
We're embracing the positivity.
Yeah, it's positive. You stay positive. Everything has a positive part to it. Even these terrible things that happen sometimes, it's a learning experience, or I sure won't do that again, or we feel good about getting creative and getting gritty and solving that problem. Yes, that was a bad problem, but we solved it because we have to.
Well, some of our biggest successes come from solving, like, sometimes problems we created on our own.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's inevitable. Construction industry is tough. It's hard. You got to be gritty, or your environmental exposure is vast and wide, and there's a lot of different things that can happen, a lot of moving parts. But if we can address everything with positivity and say, let's make this positive, and we can show respect and fairness. And I have a big sense of pride when we solve a problem. Like when there's something goes wrong.
That's my favorite part.
We go through and we say, all right, here's a few different ways to fix this. Let's analyze the best one for the stakeholders in the company, and let's go ahead and do this. And let's get together on it, work together. That builds a lot of trust and credibility between our people.
Everyone that works for us too, when we hear that same message from our clients.
Yes.
So like that comes back and they say, you guys solved that problem. You fixed it.
Yeah.
And again, we may or may not have caused it, or it might have been some outside source, but we get a lot of accolades for doing that, for being the ones that come in and don't shy away from the problems, don't avoid them.
Well, the reason we're doing it is because we're leaning on our company culture that we built. And then that's where we're asking you guys as the company, we're asking the company and our people to operate this way. And you can't just tell them to do it. You have to show them. So we want to show you, okay, we're doing it this way. We expect that you're going to enjoy the company culture, and you're going to buy into it
and participate. And I think the participation is important,
and have fun even when things are tough.
I do think that's an important piece of it, is you can't avoid participating in the culture that we've built here. I think it's really important to be a part of it. That's not to say you have to go to every event, but participating in some way and being part of the team, that's a requirement.
Yeah,
part of the team.
If we're going to practice what we preach, so to say, and if we're going to do our part to elevate the industry, and we're going to try to be better, we're going to try to suck less, like that, this is an integral part. This gives us the power. It's almost like a foundation for what we can take and do. You can be whip smart. You can be experienced through the roof and know how to do everything in construction, but it's a company you work for doesn't have a culture that you believe in and a culture that you enjoy. It's not going to do anything for you.
Well, and our culture here too is built on the expectation that you're part of the team. And I mean, what else are we expecting of everybody?
Yeah. I mean,
with being part of the team and participating.
Yeah, being part of the team, participate, being positive. We solve problems. We don't blame each other. We solve problems. We get together, work together. We all have our strengths. We all have our weaknesses.
And communicate openly as we're doing those things, right? Even when it's a little bit uncomfortable, like we can still have open dialogue about something that went right or wrong.
Yeah.
We need to be empowered to do that and have those conversations.
Yes. And earlier on, we talked about we spend a lot more time with each other than we do with our families. And it's like with your family, it's all personal. Like it is. That's your personal life. It's personal. Here's business, right? And it's personal because we like each other, we enjoy each other, but there is a business aspect to what we need to do. So there are those hard conversations. There's the hard stuff we got to handle, but we have to sort of figure out how to navigate. And it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but we have to navigate the personal feelings and the business feelings because there's things and then there's things we have to do that are the best for the company, which might be tough personally, but because of the company culture we built, the foundation we have, that's how we navigate that. Yeah, that kind of makes sense to kind of wrap this one up.
I think so.
Company culture is super important. We're going to do more of these on different topics. I think the next one coming up is about accountability because that's a big part of how we built the company. It's a big part of our social operating system is that we hold ourselves accountable. Thus, everyone is accountable, and we'll talk about that a little more.
It'll be an interesting conversation because accountability, there's a lot of nuance to it. I'm excited to explain it.
Yeah.
And the way that I expect accountability to work.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about other topics like this as we continue down this road, and we hope that you guys can get something out of it. And we want you to come with us with ideas and conversations related to these things so that we can help develop everyone into better managers, better leaders, better individuals, and to make the company better. That's what this is for. So we appreciate you guys' time listening in and looking forward to the next one.